Good afternoon. In this video, I want to briefly look at Stephen Anderson and his reasons for teaching Greek. And he has, in his lesson 1, introduction, 4 reasons to learn the Greek language. Now, at the beginning of the video, he points out very correctly that Greek shouldn't be used to correct the King James Bible. It's not going to tell you any more than the King James Bible. But what he doesn't realize is that there's no Greek text that lines up exactly with the King James Bible. That's the big problem. He's going to have he's going to say other languages should be translated from the Greek, and he says he has no problem translating from the King James Bible into other languages, but wouldn't it be better to use the original Greek, as he puts it? The problem is there's no Greek text that lines up exactly with the King James Bible. There's no other language Bible that lines up exactly with the King James Bible. So it's about 12:31 in here.
And I know that there are missionaries that translate directly from the King James Bible into obscure languages, and that's great. I'm definitely not against that. I think that that's fantastic. But obviously, ideally, the best thing would be to translate from the original language so that it's not a translation of a translation. But, you know, even translating the King James Bible is great. I'm not down on that whatsoever. But obviously, it would be better to translate it from the original Greek into, you know, one of these obscure languages. And
so you don't have a Greek text that lines up exactly with the King James Bible. He thinks there is. He goes to the Scrivener text from the Trinitarian Bible Society, and the comment we went back and forth. He says there's only a couple of typos in there. It matches exactly the King James Bible. It doesn't. There's about 20 places at least where Scrivener disagrees with the King James Bible. Scrivener was assigned by the Revision Committee to translate the King James Bible, New Testament, back into Greek. He didn't. What he did is some places he used the Beezer text, and he would go with the Beezer text instead of the King James Bible reading. The King James Bible used multiple texts. It had Elzeba, it had Stephanus, it had Erasmus, and often they would use these texts. Plus, they used different manuscripts that weren't even in these readings. The King James Bible is its own received text, and that's why the Greek and Hebrew are no longer relevant to the King James Bible, because none of them perfectly match the King James Bible. So all Bibles should be translated from the King James Bible. The King James Bible is the standard by which all language Bibles is measured against. If there's a disagreement between one language Bible versus the King James Bible is correct. And so he'll put in here about the issue of helping to defend the King James Bible, which is laudable. But you have to be very proficient. He talks about speaking the language, speak to Greek people. Again, you have to be very proficient in the language to be able to speak it, because you have to be able to think it. And he obviously has a great ability in order to do this. He has a lot of affinity for the languages clearly, and he's able to speak multiple languages. Most people aren't. So you'd have to learn the Greek language very, very well, just to read it at sight and to be able to speak it. And of course, as a hobby, to learn, he says, as a hobby, just to be able to read the Greek along. But again, and he says about he's read other Bibles in other languages. You'd have to correct them along with the King James Bible, because not every the other languages aren't going to match exactly what the King James Bible says. So he says about 30.
And there are people out there that are trying to get the gospel to different tribes. Maybe all they have is a John and Romans, and they want to get them the whole New Testament, or maybe they don't even have that. So learning Greek is great for translating the Bible into obscure languages. Okay, we already have the Kings in English, but does every nation in the world have a Bible as good as the King James? Well, obviously not. Okay,
and they can't unless you translate it from the King James back into the language, because there's no Greek text that exactly matches it. So I just want to point out that, and to point out the issue. Look, if you're going to learn Greek, is a difficult language. I had classical Greek when I was in college. This is Koine, which is a little simpler. It removes, the issue of optatives and things like that. But the point is, it takes a long time to get proficient in the language. he points out, he gives an example. A guy had a couple of semesters, and he's supposed to be a Greek expert because he can use a lexicon, which is true. What happens? The guys get a couple of years in Greek, and they think they can actually either correct the King James Bible or use the King James, use the Greek in a comfortable way. You have to really have a lot of years, but any language, in order to be comfortable with it. I mean, these guys in the King James translators, they spoke and thought in Hebrew and Greek and Latin. They, that was normal for them. We clearly aren't that. Most people aren't that level. But so he has his classes now with his ministers and stuff like that. And, these guys from churches, and they're sitting there learning. That's all basic stuff. It's going to take years for him to get to a level. Well, probably Anderson is. Anderson is, he's able to very quickly, get to this point where he can actually think in these languages. But the reality is that there's no perfect Greek text that matches exactly the King James Bible text. That's why there's nothing. The Greek and the Hebrew are no longer relevant for translations. The King James Bible is the translation that all the translations should come from. Amen. Thank you.